Weak Hero, Oh Beom Seok. Character Analysis. Written by Omi B. March 5th, 2025. This is not meant to justify Beom Seok's actions in any way. I am not a healthcare professional, and this should not be taken as any form of diagnosis. This is simply an analysis based on how I personally perceived his character. It may contain errors. Spoilers. I really enjoyed watching Weak Hero, and waiting this long for Season 2 was definitely worth it. I was surprised to see Beom Seok make an appearance again. It reminded me of what a complex character he was. In Season 2, we were also introduced to another layered character, Na Baek-jin. He piqued my interest just as much. Both are very well written. The motivation behind writing this analysis actually came from an edit I saw on TikTok. It was made by Kyung and featured the character Oh Beom Seok, set to the song Strangers by Ethel Cain.
쳐보지 마. 어려우니까.
The edit was incredibly well made and thought through, with a song that fit perfectly. Especially the ending, where the lyrics, "Am I making you feel sick?" played right after the clip of Suho telling Beom Seok, "You make me feel sick." That hit hard, and it stuck with me. Finding beauty within a fictional character may be hard at times. This might stem from their pure evil nature, or from the uncomfortable relatability you feel toward them, which makes you feel bad about yourself, so you villainize them. Or it might be all of the above. I wouldn't know. What I do know is that most fictional villains were made by people, circumstances, or both. In this document, I'll give an in-depth character analysis of Oh Beom Seok from the Kdrama Weak Hero Class 1 and 2. Role in Season 1. 17-year-old Beom Seok is a character in the high school action drama Weak Hero. Played by 29-year-old Kyung, Beom Seok is a shy teenage boy adopted by a wealthy assemblyman. But that did not make his life better. His adoptive father was emotionally and physically abusive. The adoption was simply a publicity stunt to enhance the father's reputation. This cruel upbringing, combined with bullying at school, had a lasting effect on Beom Seok's brain chemistry and personality. At the start of the series, Beom Seok transfers to a new school.
안녕. 나는 오범석이라고.
Where he becomes classmates with the protagonist, Yun Si-yoon. The class bully, Yong-bin, targets Beom Seok and manipulates him into sabotaging Si-yoon during an important test. Later, they reconcile and form a friend group with their classmates Soo-ho and Young-i, a friend of Soo-ho. The inferiority complex of Beom Seok. As I mentioned earlier, Beom Seok had a tough upbringing. His father took out every frustration on him. This made him anxious, hyper-aware, and a people-pleaser. The bullying only deepened his insecurity. Everyone in his life looked down on him. And if you were in his place, would you have been any different? All of this led to a self-destructive inferiority complex. So when he finally made friends, people who seemed to understand him, he felt like he too finally had the right to take up space and be heard. This was the opposite of how he'd lived his life, making himself as small as possible to avoid trouble. Not being noticed meant staying safe. But that shift, finally being seen, was also dangerous. You might think, isn't it good that he's finally being seen? The answer, yes and no. It's a toxic cycle. To be loved is to be seen. Let's take into account that Beom Seok is a 17-year-old boy who was relentlessly bullied and abused. He was never properly loved. Love was something foreign to him, something that either didn't exist, or if it did, wasn't meant for him. When someone has only experienced the opposite of love, it's hard to believe that real love or friendship exists. If someone is nice, they must be lying or have hidden motives. That's what his father taught him, loving words for the media, cruelty behind closed doors. His young mind picked up the pattern, love is a lie. So when he suddenly had friends who liked him, it must have felt surreal. Even though he went along with it, he was always on edge. His mind was ready to retreat at the first sign of danger. When he noticed that Soo-ho didn't follow him back on Instagram, he panicked. Soo-ho must hate me. But he gave it a chance, asked Soo-ho about it. Soo-ho said
재미없어서 어플도 지웠어.
that he had deleted the app. Beom Seok relaxed. That's why. For a moment, the friendship felt secure again. But later, when Beom Seok saw Soo-ho's following count go up, realizing he had followed Young-i, it shattered that calm. He lied. He didn't delete the app. He just didn't want to follow me. That moment marked the beginning of Beom Seok's spiral. Even though Si-yoon never excluded him, the way Young-i playfully clung to Si-yoon and got along with Soo-ho made Beom Seok feel pushed out. She became the threat to his only chance at a social life. He started to despise her and Soo-ho. As Soo-ho and Si-yoon grew closer, Beom Seok saw it as, Si-yoon likes Soo-ho more than me. Soo-ho is stealing my only friend. Because of his trauma, Beom Seok could only see in black and white. So to him, Soo-ho and Young-i were now the villains. All three friends noticed the shift in him. He became angry, even aggressive. But being noticed made him feel weak, pitted, and more isolated. The breaking point. Soo-ho was dominant. He could fight. He had friends. He was loved by his grandmother. This made Beom Seok jealous and even more insecure. To him, Soo-ho had everything Beom Seok thought he could almost be part of. But Soo-ho didn't truly want him. This is when Beom Seok tried to become stronger than Soo-ho. He began to mirror his father, the only powerful figure he knew. In Beom Seok's eyes, his father was a terrifying monster. To defeat Soo-ho, he had to become that monster. In the cafeteria scene, Beom Seok cuts in front of Soo-ho and Soo-yoon. Soo-ho tells him to move. Beom Seok, rebelling for the first time in his life, replies, This was major. Beom Seok had always been a people pleaser, terrified of upsetting others. But now he was trying to flip the power dynamic to dominate Soo-ho like others had once dominated him. Soo-ho pushes him to the ground. Beom Seok glares. Don't look at me like that. You make me feel sick, Soo-ho says. That was it. The final straw. Beom Seok had to overpower Soo-ho to regain control of his own life. And don't forget, while all this was happening at school, his abuse at home continued. He was in full crisis mode, and Soo-ho became the target. The tragedy. When a deeply wounded person hits a crisis, they go blank. That's when they make their worst, irreversible decisions. Beom Seok paid people to beat up Soo-ho. He even joined in himself. The beating put Soo-ho in a coma. And as it ended, Beom Seok saw his father's assistant looking at him with a smug, knowing face. That snapped him out of it. He suddenly realized what he had done. He knelt beside Soo-ho, checked his pulse, only to be dragged away. He knew what was coming. He'd be sent to the Philippines. His father saw him as a liability, and now he was a scandal. Later, when Soo-yoon went to confront him, Soo-yoon was ready to throw a punch, but didn't. Because Soo-yoon understood him. It was one big tragedy. Soo-yoon not punching made Beom Seok feel even guiltier. I put my friend in a coma, and now I've made another friend lose 2 people he cared about. Yet he still chose to understand me. Soo-yoon stood between a friend who hurt and a friend who was hurt. He, too, felt guilty. Maybe if I had made Beom Seok feel more included, none of this would have happened. But those thoughts are a losing game. Some hurt people heal, others hurt people. Does that justify what Beom Seok did? Absolutely not. This is the toxic cycle I was talking about. Now Soo-yoon carries guilt he doesn't deserve, and Beom Seok carries a guilt he'll never escape. A hurt child, believing that hurting another child would protect what little of himself he had left. Beom Seok's story is nothing short of tragic. He is not just a villain, he's a deeply broken boy who never learned what love, safety, or self-worth looked like. Everything he did was rooted in fear, desperation, and a twisted attempt to survive in a world that constantly told him he didn't matter. That doesn't excuse the pain he caused, but it does explain it. What makes his character so interesting is how real he feels. We've all felt insecure. We've all been scared to lose people we care about. Beom Seok just took those emotions and let them consume him. He was a victim who ended up becoming what he feared most. And maybe that's why he stays with you. Because even if you hate what he did, a part of you still sees that lonely kid begging to be loved. It's uncomfortable, but it's human. So whether he's alive or not, whether he finds peace or not, Beom Seok's story is one that forces us to ask the hard questions. About guilt. About love. About how far we'll go just to feel like we matter.